Hi, I'm Kat and this is my autumn wrap up and my winter TBR. So it is just getting very cold in Melbourne right now. Like it's very cold. Can we just skip winter and go straight to spring? Like this year has been terrible enough as it is. I don't want to deal with cold weather as well. But anyway, here are the books that I read in autumn. First up, Chain of Gold by Cassie Clare. I gave this 4 stars. I always love the Shadowhunters books. It's not my new fave as it is a lot of other people's Shadowhunter books. Like my all-time faves are still gonna be the Dark Artificers, and I feel like I'm one of those rare people who still prefers the Infernal Devices over the Last Hours so far. I did love all the characters though. 2 is Killing It by Asia McKay, and I gave this 3 stars. I requested this one from the publisher ages ago and I just finally got around to reading it for Owls. I quite enjoyed it. It's an adult contemporary about a woman who is an assassin slash spy, but she's also a new mother, so she's going back to work, and how does her being a mother now affect her job? There is a second book which I might read one day, and I can't believe that is already dying. So let's speed this up. I love the whole mother spy thing, and I think I'm gonna buy this book for one of my friends for Christmas because I know she'd love it. I do wish there was more chemistry with the main character and her husband though, because at the beginning he wasn't even mentioned and I was like, oh okay, is she a single mother? But no, he's there and she's supposedly head over heels in love with him, but I felt more chemistry with her and her spy partner than I did with her and her husband. Third was The Wicker by Mary Watson. I gave this 3 stars. I also read this for Owls. The publisher sent me this one unsolicited a while ago and I read the first book for Newts last year, so I finally got around to reading this. This is set in the same world as the first book, but it follows different characters. So it's set in Ireland and it follows these magic users and they have a very complicated magic system which I understand a little better now, but I'm still quite confused by. I enjoyed it, but less than the first book. I would have loved to have seen more of Ren and just more interaction with these characters and the characters from the first book. And I just would have loved Zara and Ren to meet. 4 was Nemesis by Anna Banks. I also gave this 3 stars and read it for Owls. I got this one from Fairy Loot ages ago and I was going to unhaul it, but then I reread the blurb and it sounded like it was going to be hate to love, so I ended up keeping it and reading it. But it wasn't as hate to lovey as I thought it was going to be. And the blurb also makes it sound like the king of the other country to hers is going to be her nemesis, but he just wasn't that nemesis-y. And I feel like her father was more of a nemesis than this other king. There is a second book. I don't know if I will read it. 5 is a book that I read for my readathon because we can, and that is Akane by Lynette Noni. I gave this 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. I really like Alex. It's Australian, so I'm finally getting around to reading and supporting this Australian author. And I just really need more Caden. If you watch my Because We Can vlog, then you'll understand why I want more Caden. And I will get to the other books at some point, okay, Kate? 6 is Aurora Burning by J. Kristoff and Amy Kaufman. I gave this 4 stars and it was a YA Room book club read. This is the sequel to Aurora Rising, like everyone knows what this is about. And I just always love what Jay and Amy write. And I love the characters, and Scarlet is still my favorite, but I'm weirdly liking Sadie. And I would really like book 3 after that cliffhanger, please. And are they still working on that TV show? Because we would love to see it. And the last book I only partially read in autumn, and that is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I started this months ago and I'm not that far into it. I started it before Owls, but then put it down to read Owls books, and then picked it up a little bit, but then put it down for Because We Can, and then I still haven't been able to pick it up yet because I've been reading book club books and review books. And I will pick it back up to finish it, but I just haven't had a strong desire to because I just don't care. Like, I don't like Darrow. Pierce Brown, give me a reason to care. Okay, and now onto the books that I want to read during winter. So first up, I want to finish reading Golden Sun. And then a new release I want to read is True Life by J. Kristoff. This is the 3rd and final book in the Lifelike series. I have to finish reading that series. If you don't know, the Lifelike series is one of Jay's solo series, and it is YA, dystopian, steampunky, a little bit fantasy. This is the Australian edition of the first book, and it describes it as it's Romeo and Juliet meets Mad Max meets X-Men with a little bit of Blade Runner cheering from the sidelines. Mad Max, yes. Haven't seen Blade Runner, so I can't really tell you. Romeo and Juliet, a little bit, and the X-Men really comes into play into book 2. And in classic J fashion, book 2 ended up on a really big cliffhanger, like a very similar cliffhanger to how Aurora Burning finished. So I've got to finish the series to see how it ends. It's not my favorite series from J, but I still enjoy it. Number 3 is one that I've actually already read, but it was on my winter TBR because we're like a week into winter now, and that is The Red Point Crux by Morgan Shammy. I've reviewed this one for the Parliament House. It is a Phantom of the Opera retelling type thing, and I will have my thoughts on it in my winter wrap up in 3 months. Okay, camera died, so let's try and do this before it dies again. So number 4 is another one I am reviewing, and that is The Green Door by Heather Kind. This one is the story of this game that happens in some really rich person's house, where each door in this hallway goes to a different world, and the people participating in this game have to like solve the puzzle in this world, and then if they win something. I'm very intrigued by it. I helped out with the cover reveal, so let's see what happens with this one. Number 5 is The Interrogation of Ashela Wolf, which is one that I found when I was researching Aboriginal YA to read. This is the only Aboriginal YA fantasy that I found that wasn't written like after the 80s. So Ashela is part of this tribe of illegals that live in the woods, and they all have some sort of elemental power. But Ashela has been caught by the government, and her ability has been blocked, and she's being put under in this machine that is going to take secrets out from her mind. And there's this guy who's betrayed her as well, who's right next to her watching her every move, and it sounds very interesting. I've ordered this one from the bookstore down the road, so I am waiting for it to come in. 6 is Ironheart by Jodie McAllister. This is book 2 in the Valentine series. This is Australian urban fantasy about fae, and I just really want to read this. This copy is also signed by Jodie because I met her again at Supernova, and then maybe I'll buy book 3 when she shows up at another convention. And lastly is a book that I bought this weekend when I was out looking for The Interrogation of Ashela Wolf, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. I just didn't own a copy of this one yet, and I really wanted to read it. Everyone's raved about this one, and I definitely want to read more diversely. So will I stick to this TBR? Who knows? I think I'm actually gonna stick pretty well to this. So please comment down below if you read any of these books or what you are reading for the next 3 months. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos.